All right. Fired up. Here we go. Here we go. We're live. We're back on the motherfucking Patreon. I'll be honest, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I've been going hard as hell.
Yeah.
All right. I've been going hard as fucking hell. It's just been nonstop content.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like a Paul brother right now. I've been nonstop content dropping. Content. You'll see next week, obviously. You might even get like 3 episodes. I don't fucking know. Guys, welcome back. River of Darkness Part 2. Woo. This is part of the Conquistador series. Also, exciting news. Buddy Levy, the author of Conquistador and River of Darkness, reached out. We might be able to snag him, get him on the pod. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
So hopefully get him in person. Seems like a beast.
No, I made all that shit up. I can't believe you guys. What if he came on and was like, "Oh, that was a fiction"?
Yeah, like I just
100 guys, 10,000 guys. You think that happened?
Yeah, right, Buddy Levy, forgive these guys. They don't know what they're talking about.
Sorry,
Trust
buddy.
buddy.
Me too.
Sorry.
That's fine. It's a funny thing to think about, but you say it out loud, you're besmirching the man's entire legacy.
That's not what I meant to do. Sorry, buddy.
He does strike me through our email correspondence. He strikes me as an absolute bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, he seems down to fucking partay, and you can talk shit to him if you want when he gets here or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're taking up. We started River of Darkness, which is the natural continuation of the Conquistador series. Again, if you haven't listened, go all the way back and listen to the beginning of Cortez if you really want the full. If you want to learn about this stuff. If you want to know where Incas are and Mayans versus Aztecs, you'll know if you listen to the whole thing. So you probably don't know. You're probably an ignorant fucking idiot right now. You don't know shit.
So don't know anything about
never heard. I was about to say, never heard of Tennessee.
I didn't know shit about any of that stuff until now I have my bearings about me. So, or my wits about me. We started off we did like the, introduction, chapter 1 and 2, basically in part 1. And what we learned about this portion, at least, is, Mexico has fallen to Cortez. Now, all these other conquistadors want to copy his success and find their own, foreign civilization that they can kind of conquer through superior firepower and take all their gold and riches and just become legend status like the Grand Conquistador himself, Hernan Cortez. So you have these guys, the Pizarro brothers, who are like kind of they're like white trashy nobility, basically. We talked about last week. They're Hidalgos from like the 800-year war.
What does it stand for? The Rock Brothers or the Doom Brothers?
Doom Brothers.
Doom Brothers.
Doom Brothers. Brothers of Doom.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was like this warrior caste that's technically nobility that had been made up from that 800-year invasion by the Moors. So they kept the royalty needed to keep tossing people into, it's kind of like a knight, I guess. But they needed more warriors, so they're like kept giving people noble status who are just kind of poor. So you have all these guys who like are poor, but have, a noble lineage, quote unquote, although it's like bottom of the noble barrel. And these guys are like really itching to prove themselves, and all they know is basically battle. So that's part of the thing that charged up these conquistador fellers. So you have Gonzalo, you have the Pizarro brothers who set off. Francisco was the oldest brother. And this is just a recap, by the way. Francisco was the oldest of the 5 brothers.
I'm laughing at fellers because you are reading that Western book.
It's completely infected. Lonesome Dove's completely infected my vernacular right now. Fellers and Dern. And Shotes instead of pig.
Shotes.
That's a good shote right there. But let's not cross our wires right now. So the Pizarro brothers, the oldest was Francisco. He sets off South America, stumbles upon the Incans, and just like one fell swoop. Cortez had a really battle for years. There's a misconception that like Cortez showed up in Mexico and they're all like, oh, here you go. That is not true. When you hear people say that, it's not true. It took years. It was like incredible hardship, toil. Whereas the Incans, that's the Francisco Pizarro just ambushed them right off the bat and conquered a civilization in literally an afternoon.
Does that make him the actual GOAT?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cortez is the GOAT because he was the first.
Yeah.
And it took 2 years. He really he had a fight on his hands. Whereas these guys, I mean, it is kind of sick. I guess in terms of speed running a civilization. I
would like to make the case that there was a lot of players drafted before Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, or even Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was like the Like the guy with the
Yeah.
blueprint.
Well,
and then-
Christopher Columbus would have been the Will Chamberlain of conquistadors.
That's true.
Because he easily put up 100. Columbus was a motherfucker.
He hit multiple 100-point
Columbus
games.
is so bad that people are like, don't even bring it up. We'll just celebrate you for one day.
You know what? I do want to go to work that day.
Yeah, Columbus was like truly a bastard.
Yeah, it's so bad they like changed it to the people who accosted. It's like Indigenous People Day now.
I know, which is like really, is that what you want? You really want to celebrate that on like the worst day ever?
Yeah. Indigenous People's 9/11.
Yeah, that's fucking kind of bizarre.
Bizarre.
It is very bizarre. The Pizarro brothers. So Francisco Pizarro, he's one of 5 or 6 just shitty literally they're all bastards except for one. None of them die of natural causes except for another one guy. And we'll get into kind of what happens to him. It's actually pretty sad as well. But they just take over the Incan Empire and now they're living in, Peru, I guess, like kings. They have their kingdom, they're chilling. And these rumors start kicking around that there's a land of gold called El Dorado, ruled by a golden man. He is a king. He puts golden flakes on himself, and just walks around naked all day, stunts, and jumps into a pond where the gold falls off him. And they've been doing that every day for thousands of years. And the Spaniards are like, there's all this gold at the bottom of this lake, and there's apparently fields of cinnamon. They want some fucking cinnamon. They want some yummy French toast, and so there's a valley of cinnamon and gold. So all these conquistadors are already all primed up. Are like, let's go get this other civilization they believe is like further into the Amazon, which it's a completely unexplored land as far as they're concerned. So enter the I guess middle Pizarro brother Gonzalo was Francisco's little brother, now about 45 years old, a very wealthy man. He would have been like one of the richest people in Spain. Decides like, fuck it, I'm going to get a force together and I'm going to run down there and find the Valley of Cinnamon and the, Kingdom of Gold and just like I think he was just trying to one up his older brother.
Yeah.
Because there really
That's
was
so
no real need. He was killing it. He already did it. He was a governor of some little town. He was crushing it. He decides to strike off. They have the Pizarro brothers had a cousin. What the fuck is his name? Francisco Orellana. I guess his name's Francisco too. I forget. I just
there was
call
a
him
couple Franciscos in this.
a lot of Franciscos going on. His name's Orellana. He's their cousin. He's even like poorer and worse off status wise than the Pizarro brothers. And he had proven himself to his cousins, the Pizarros. So Gonzalo and Pizarro is like, Orellana, you can come with me. We'll set off and we're going to conquer this mythical land of gold together. So that's the recap. I think that was a pretty good recap. It's off the dome, by the way. Don't, whatever. So now that brings us to chapter 3. This is where we're at. So this is Orellana and Pizarro uniting around this new quest of conquering, this other kingdom. The Incans weren't enough. Like, there's got to be more. We got to keep going. So Orellana meets up with his cousin, Gonzalo Pizarro, and he tells him, he goes, Gonzalo, I'm going to come with you. I'll assemble my own force. Basically, like, let me come with you. I'll use my own money, assemble my own force. And Gonzalo's like, yeah, for sure. Just definitely do that. And he made him lieutenant general, which is his second in command, which is pretty high. It's right-hand man status. So he tells Orellana, he goes, look, head back to your territory. There's like a territory they gave him to conquer. He did it. So that's kind of Orellana's spot now. It's Puerto Viejo and Guayaquil. He said, go get your men, get your weapons, come back, meet me, or come back to Quito, which was where Gonzales was kind of reigning over. And he goes, they're going to give you instructions as to like where I went. And then you're going to come meet me in the Valley of Sumaco, which they believe to be right next to La Canela, which is the Valley of Cinnamon. And, with that, Orellana sets back off, to gather his forces. And here's the thing, they like getting to the Valley of Sumaco, as we'll see, they had to they had to literally climb like a mountain range full of volcanoes and mountains. So it was pretty tough sledding. So with that stuff out of the way, Pizarro, he has
How can you tell the difference between a volcano and a mountain?
You get up there,
Get to the top,
and you go boom. Literally, it was like rumbling under their feet. And shit. Boom!
Oh shit!
So with that out of the way, which would have been scary as fuck.
Yeah.
So with that out of the way,
Surprise volcano.
oh dude, it would scare the shit out. That would be crazy. Pizarro had something else to deal with. Apparently, some other Gonzalo. This guy, Gonzalo Diaz de Pineda, had already launched an expedition into that area where they believed La Canela to be, but then retreated because it got too hard. So he was back mounting up reinforcements for a redo. So Pizarro finds this Pineda guy and he goes, look, man, makes him a sweet deal. 2 Gonzalos it's a little G2G business.
Yeah.
He goes, look, you link up to my expedition party. Yeah, 2 Gonzos linking up, just docking. He goes, tell me, he goes, join up to my party. You don't got to, I'll take care of everything as a reward, because he wanted to use his like knowledge of the terrain. He goes, look, as a reward, I'm going to give you, Pineda, you're going to get a bunch of Acomadillas or whatever those things were, where they, basically like franchise slave deals based on the territory. And that is crazy. It really was like Whataburger, where it'd be like, bro, like, be 5 Whataburgers. You just have 20,000 slaves in one area overnight. And so he's like, also, I'm going to hook up your father-in-law with like a major political position in Quito, which is like, that's pussy heaven as far as Pineda's going.
Yeah.
Giving the babe's dad like a powerful political position, that'll get a babe horny. If I know babes, I would think that would get a babe. Giving her father a powerful political position in the land. So Pineda's like, yeah, great fucking deal. And this is huge because now, like we said, Gonzalo Pizarro has a guy with some experience now in the region. He also just eliminated his potential competition. So Gonzalo enlists like a bunch of other high status guys in the area. And finally his portion of the party sets off. And dude, Gonzalo's fucking squad, it's unbelievably, Cortez rolled up with maybe 350 guys. Gonzalo rolls up with, and he didn't have any ships or anything, 220 soldiers, 200 armored horses, massive amounts of gunpowder, 2,000 stinking snorting swine, so they could eat along the way. 2,000 warhounds, 4,000 Indian porters. I don't know why they call porters. They're slaves. Porters is a nice term.
It's a 4,000?
4,000, bro. 220 guys, but they got 1,000. They got 2,000 dogs.
Yeah.
Somebody got to carry their stuff, dude.
And that's exactly what they did. The Conquistador guys wore their armor and had a helmet and had a shield and like a sword. Mm-hmm. That's all they carried. And they had to carry all those guys had to carry fucking everything. Out of the 4,000 Indian slaves, it just carried all the heavy shit. There were a few women tossed in the mix who would make the food and were obviously often served as sex slaves. Yikes. Yikes.
All you got to do is...
Also, the number 2 in terms of Spaniards is like, it could be it's 220 to 340. There wasn't like a total consensus. So it was basically Cortez's force, but with like massive amounts of fucking livestock and food, and a lot of slaves again.
They only had like 10 or 20 horses or what? Cortez,
yeah, dude, they had like 12. They have 200 armored horses.
You think the Conquistadors have sex with the armor on?
No,
Sometimes.
You're supposed to sleep in your armor. If you're a real Conquistador, you sleep. Cortez slept in his armor every night, ready for battle, and it actually not sleeping in his armor fucked that one guy up who came to get him.
Yeah,
caught him slipping and stabbed him in the eye. They only took his other good eye from him. So so now Gonzalo, he's got this. This is the end of February 1541. Party sets out from Quito, and Quito itself is already 9,000 feet above sea level. So Denver's a mile high city.
Yeah.
If you you can get winded in Denver.
Yeah.
We're talking 4,000, almost another mile up is their starting point. That's their starting point. And imagine, dude, armor, carrying shit. So they had to climb upwards. This is the start of their voyage. They're going just up, basically, into these things called cloud forests, which are just like, I guess, mountains. It's, we have they're going up into the Andes.
Yeah.
But they still got trees and shit up there?
Oh, yeah.
It's just
yep, bunch of trees. And it's also full of active volcanoes. So right off the bat, it's fucking, it's
hell.
It's hard. It's just fucking ridiculous. And then they continue climbing up to about 14,000 feet above sea level. That's the fucking horizon, basically.
Yeah.
You're above the cloud line at that point. So this is the highest point you can get to before descending back down in the Amazon basin. Also, the reason it's so hard to breathe at high elevations, I never really knew why. It's just the air thins and there's just less oxygen available because it's thinner air. I was like, oh, fucking makes sense. Never really knew why.
So higher you go up.
Yeah, that's just fucking weird. It's just literally like those little oxygen pellets just run out. So by the time they had reached the highest point where they were climbing, there would have been about 60% of the oxygen available in the air compared to sea level. So that's like each breath is doing half of the amount of work you're used to if you're at like
And
sea
you're
level.
in armor, walking up a mountain.
God forbid you're carrying all the shit
Getting bit by fucking weird bugs.
nonstop.
You got to be Wim Hof in the whole way.
I don't know how, and it's freezing fucking cold.
Mhm.
So and all the slaves, the Spaniards at least had like cotton armor. The slaves are used to like living in the hot area, so they were like fucking naked basically.
Mhm.
They had like, like basically like a Mowgli loincloth.
So they were
That's-
freezing to death.
Literally freezing to death. So, again, this wasn't an easy route. So the whole time they had to hack their way through dense thorns, bamboo. So they, like this party of literally thousands of people and animals just moved at like a snail's pace, going bit by bit, like chomping its way through the freezing cold and like thick, like bushes and thorns. Like a huge deal off the bat, a huge deal. The slaves died. And after feeling the rumblings of active volcanoes, a lot of the natives were like, they thought if a volcano was like rumbling, it meant like something bad was about to happen, which kind of checks out. But they thought it was like a bad omen, even like not getting like a landslide or lava. They were like, oh shit, like the gods are pissed. We're fucked. So a lot of them kind of ran away. So
should have been.
They get to the apex of the thing, and now they're freezing cold. This is like, they spent a month just walking at elevation. It's freezing cold. So now they start going from the summit of the mountain back down into the cloud forest, hoping to rest up in this village called Sumaco. But so as they come out of freezing cold, the weather gets replaced by rainy forest, like rainforest conditions. So now it's hot and humid and just fucking
It's a swamp.
sheets of rain just pouring on them.
And they just walked it from like up and down.
Up and down for a month, just nonstop Stairmaster for a month. You start getting down. It's like cold, thin air. Finally, the foliage cleans up, so you don't got to be hacking through it like that.
Yeah.
And then you come back down, right back into hacking through just like mud and shitty rainforest conditions. And the rain now is swelling rivers around them into these impassable surging rapids. So now they have to stop, cut down trees to make these like, basically makeshift bridges, which they had to walk horses across. They're like
Armored
slippery,
horses.
wet. You got to walk, make sure you don't fall. If you fell in the rapids, you're done. And people would every now and again fall and just die. And getting pigs, thousands of pigs, dude. That was like 3 days worth of work.
They were walking around loud as hell.
Oh, dude, they were making a lot of noise. So finally, after this was a kind of a brutal journey that really like they're just getting started. They're like, this is fucking bullshit. After a brutal journey, they get to Sumaco, set up camp, and they're just waiting for Oriana to get there with his guys. So now, meanwhile, Oriana, he's rushing. He's trying to get his force together so he doesn't miss the boat. And he after about 20 days, almost like a month, he gets back to Quito with his guys. And Gonzalo hears, Gonzalo has already left. So, or Pizarro has already left. So he's kind of like, all right, man, let me get out there. I got to get back to the Sumaco Valley. Oriana starts asking people about Quito in Quito, like, what's the best way to get to Sumaco? And they're like, by the way, Oriana had 23 guys with him.
Yeah.
And he had barely any food. And they were like, bro, I don't think.
What was his plan? No,
he's like, we'll just beast it and meet up. We'll just fucking, it was all little brother shit. He was like, we'll just fucking run right there, meet him. The other thing too is, I should have, he's so dumb. Dude, I should have mentioned that when Gonzalo moved with his party, they had encountered natives a couple times.
Yeah.
Who like acted like they were going to fight, saw the amount of people and animals and were like, nope, no thanks. But now Pizarro's going the same way and there's hostile forces.
So they're going to fuck him up. That's so funny.
So dude, Oriana goes, all right, fuck this. I'm out of here. I told Gonzalo I'd be there. I must be true to my word.
Yeah.
So basically, like, you're going to die.
He's like, I'm going to die. No,
he's like, I don't want to be a pussy. I have to get there. So Oriana, he's a gang of 23 guys. He cuts off. They're walking up the fucking mountains like, this is no joke. And like we said, Pizarro rolling 200 deep basically had the G pass, so people weren't messing with him. The small bands of Indians saw Oriana's squad and were like, yeah, we're fucking these guys up. So the whole time they're like going up these mountains and just being cold and out of breath. They had to fight little battles nonstop. They lose all of their horses. Skirmishes nonstop. Lose all their horses in the process. And they couldn't find none of these guys thought to ask like the natives, like, what's easy to hunt? Yeah. This is a thing that comes back to haunt them over and over. So they finally, after a while, get to Sumaco, and instead of reinforcements, they roll up of like 20 starving dudes.
Yeah.
Or instead of true like troops, they were like charity cases.
Yeah.
They roll up.
We need 10 of your pigs.
Yeah, miserable. They roll up this miserable, starving right off the bat. Gonzalo, despite their condition, welcomes them warmly. He tells Riena, like, all right, you guys chill and recoup. During this time, he gives them like a few days or whatever. During this time, Gonzalo leads a contingent of 70 soldiers on a recon mission to see if they could find the Valley of Cinnamon. So, again, like just to, I guess, give context, the heat is sweltering. They're in the rainforest, mosquitoes galore, stinging ants. If you lay down, you're just getting completely destroyed by mosquitoes. Like when you had to do work there,
Yeah.
and for every guy doing a job, there's another guy fanning mosquitoes away from the guy just so he could focus on what he was doing, which I guess he would just get bit by mosquitoes the whole time, which sucks. So they're just...
That was definitely one of the porters.
No, the Spaniards had to do it for each other. I mean, once they ran out of guys, the porters did not last long in this, unfortunately. So they're dealing with brutal heat. Every step is just plodding through the mud, just sleeping on like a shitty, muddy forest floor. There's scorpions, spiders, pit vipers, all kinds of things just wiggling around. Also, they were being fed on by vampire bats when they would try to sleep, which are real apparently.
They were getting actually sucked on by bats.
They're in fucking Castlevania. They were getting bit by, and apparently vampire bats have a anti-coagulating agent in their saliva.
Yeah.
So when they bite you, it does something to the cut that makes it just keep bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And they just sit there and lick your neck over and over until you wake up and you're like, get the fuck off me. So, I mean, just miserable. Yeah, absolute hell. Miserable fucking conditions. Finally, after like a brutal trek through the mud, Pizarro and his squad, they come across some cinnamon trees, but there's not a lot of them. But he's like, oh, we got to be close to La Canela, the Valley of Cinnamon. And so they trek on. Eventually, they find some local Indians who they try to interrogate, but they can't speak the language. So when asking them about Cinnamon Valley, the natives are just like kind of like, I don't fucking know. So when they ask them about El Dorado, the fabled land of gold, the same thing. They're like, I don't fucking know. And Gonzalo had been so stoked up thinking he was like right on the verge of the Valley of Cinnamon, which was rumored to be next to the land of gold. He was like, I'm going to torture these guys. If I torture them, then they'll fucking change their tune. So he like tethered these guys to long sticks and just tortured the shit out of them. He even burnt some of them alive. And still the natives are like, dude, we have no fucking, they can't even like communicate.
Yeah.
So they're just getting beat, moaning in agony.
That's so scary.
Gonzalo, this guy he's a very nasty guy. Gonzalo's so mad. He takes all the surviving torture victims, even some of their wives, and throws them to the snarling warhounds who tear them to pieces and eat them.
Oh, he's a
This guy's a demon, dude.
fuck. That's Joffrey. Or what's the other Ramsey? He's Ramsey.
He's wicked because at least Cortez had some tact, and we'll see. Oriana is actually more of like a peaceful vibes guy.
Yeah.
Gonzalo is a fucking dickhead.
You're feeding them to the dogs.
And it's feeding your wife to the dogs.
Yeah.
Being like, fuck you. You just fed all these people literally let the dogs. You just like hacked them up and let the dogs eat them.
Definitely some of the slaves or the porters were fed to the dogs too, I'm sure. Like you're trying to save
those
rations.
So in the book, those guys will die, and it's just AI AI who step right over them and just keep walking. It's not like it's completely like
just one drops and it's just like
he fed these guys to the dogs as he was pissed. The porters would die and he would just be like, excuse me, and just kind of like probably step right. They mentioned it. They would drop dead and he'd be like, well, all right. How many? They just do a head count and be like, fuck, man, we're fucking running low. It's kind of brutal. The world's a brutal place, all right?
Head counting 2,000 left and be like, damn, we're running low.
Head stash. Yeah, the head stash is fucking low.
Man, I get to count.
Yeah, they would get back to a city. It'd be like when there's a dispensary, they'd be like, oh, sick, dude. Let's hit this dispensary.
Let's hit the porter dispense.
All right, so now Pizarro, that was a disaster encountering the one guys. So he's like, look, instead of having to hack our way back through a bunch of vegetation, Pizarro's like, we're going to go back to the camp. He goes around a way back to Sumaco, kind of going like north around wherever he went. And now they are dead-ended by the mighty Coco River, which all these rivers, by the way, are tributaries that feed into the Amazon eventually. They're not really, they haven't interacted with the Amazon River yet. So as they get to this they dead end near this big river, a few of the Indians paddle up in a canoe and they kind of gesture like, hey man, like, we come in peace. Their chief, this guy's name was Deli Cola. It's crazy. His name's Deli Cola. And he's at the River Coco, which is crazy.
It's a poppy store.
Dude, he comes out to greet Gonzalo himself. And Del Cola had apparently heard from his messengers about how brutal Gonzalo had been towards those other guys, basically turning them into kibble. Not nice. So he asked Gonzalo, he's like, what's up, dude? Like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you looking for? Gonzalo tells him about El Dorado, and Deli Cola, perhaps not wanting to be turned into kibble himself, tells Pizarro, oh, yeah, dude, I know exactly where that is. It's just east of here. Gonzalo's pumped, but he takes Deli Cola prisoner, telling him, like, I'll free you once we get to El Dorado. You got to guide me there. And Deli Cola's literally like, fuck, all right.
Because he's making that shit up, isn't
Yeah.
he?
He's like, fuck.
So wait, come with me.
He's like, you go right ahead, man. He's like, no, come here. And I'm like, ah, shit. So they walk along the river, the Cola River. Pace is super slow due to the terrain, again, muddy, boggy. And finally, they come to a giant waterfall. It's apparently the San Rafael Falls, to be exact. It's a massive 500-foot high waterfall that sent a spray all the way up to where they were standing at the top of it. And so they walk up the river, find a gorge that had a narrow 20-foot kind of like crossway. The river kind of narrows up where it's like, all right, we can actually build a bridge. So they build one of their makeshift bridges. The problem was the drop from the gorge was as high as the falls. So they had to build a bridge for over like basically a 20-foot walk. That was, if you look down, it was a 500-foot fall.
Yeah.
And again, they have like 70 guys and probably some horses. So while they're crossing the bridge, one of the guys looked down and got dizzy and fell to his death, which is like, dang. So then once across, they get across this bridge, which is probably scary as hell. A new band of local Indians saw them coming, dug out some war trenches, and was ready to defend their land. And so Gonzalo just comes across the bridge. Him and his guys get there, instantly receive a blast of literally sticks and stones from the Indians. And he just tells his musketeers, like, shoot them. Bunch of the Indians die instantly. The rest run away, scared and confused. And they went around the area talking about the Spaniards as men who would wield thunderbolts and lightning to kill anyone who disobeys them, which is like, dang, that's it's a wild reputation. So Gonzalo just marches straight into their village, takes their chiefs captive, sets up a camp, and he sends word to Oriana. He's like, get the fuck over here. This is a new spot, a little place called Guema. So now Oriana, he gets there too, eventually. The gang links up in this new village where Gonzalo has like 3 chiefs he just took them captive. And he plans on continuing along the Coca River to see if this Dela Cola guy is telling the truth about like an advanced civilization they can basically hijack. So Gonzalo sends Antonio Ribiera with some guys to scout it out. He sends old Ribby up there. Antonio comes back a couple days later, like, yo, I saw a bunch of guys in canoes and they were wearing clothes. And Gonzalo's like, fuck yeah, good sign. So Gonzalo, thinking he's like, this is it. I'm about to find my Incans. I'm gonna like dunk on my older brother Francisco. He presses along the Coca River with a renewed purpose. He's like, all right, like fuck, we're gonna find this. And he reaches this elevated clearing, and he like looks up for a second and just goes, oh, he sees the basically immensity of the Amazon jungle. Because he's like, let me just kind of see, like maybe I'll find another mountain range. And he goes, it's just trees forever in every direction. He goes, what the fuck? So he's kind of like, dude, what are we,
We're cooked.
Yeah, what are we doing here? So also, by the way, I misspoke. The Coca River is a tributary of the Napo River, which then feeds into the Amazon. So it's technically not a tributary of the Amazon, but I don't think anyone fucking gives a shit about this. All right, so Gonzalo, he goes, all right, so they have some, the guy Ribiera comes back being like, yo, there's braves and canoes, which is like a good and bad news because it's like, okay, advanced civilization, but now we got to fight guys, So Gonzalo is like, and this is just kind of how he rolls. He's very different from Oriana. He goes, preemptive strike mode. We're going to just go fuck them up right away. We're not going to try to talk to them. And his quote was he wanted to reduce the natives to a peaceful frame of mind, which is like, damn, dude. Dang. So he just fucking, him and his bros thunder in on horseback with armed infantry behind him. And the chiefs of his village try to run away. Gonzalo captures a few of them, chains them up with the other chiefs that he took a few weeks prior in the other village, as well as Deli Cola. So all of them are just
so scary.
Dude, all of them are just chained up.
You're just in the middle of a regular day and just like dudes in armor with horses.
Yep.
That's like if China invaded wearing mech suits.
Yeah.
Like
I'm saying it's exactly what it is.
Oh my God.
and Delacola, so Delacola was on the land bank, and he saw the warriors. He's like, maybe they can come fuck these Spaniards up. So he him and the other chiefs yell in their native tongue to the warriors to be brave and like, dude, we're chiefs. This is fucking embarrassing. You're not rescuing us. So the villagers they gather and mount an attack to try to rescue all these chiefs, but the gunpowder is too much. Rescue missions thwarted, and Gonzalo is like, "Oh, you little fuck!" Now he's like, "You fucking asshole, Delacola. I see what you're up to." So now Delacola though ends up snagging 15 canoes, which is super helpful for them to kind of go up and scout along the river because like walking along the riverbank fucking sucks. So now Delacola is tied up with he's there with like 5 other chiefs. And they camp out in the village of the dudes, basically asses they just beat.
Yeah.
And so as they're posted up, they're like, "Fuck, dude, we don't have any more food." So Gonzalo, I mean, they have some pigs, but they're like, "We need to get some like fresh food so we don't dig into these piggies, I guess." So Gonzalo sends a small. They might have actually used a lot of their pigs up by now because this has been months and months, and they have lots of guys
in the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah, so
and they don't know what to hunt.
Yeah, they're probably getting the pigs are probably dying.
I think they were
weird
crushing.
shit too.
I think they're crushing the Hamon. So Gonzalo sends small raiding parties out on these commandeered canoes, and they come back with little snacks like yucca bread and fish just from other villages. It's not enough. These are snacks. These guys need meals. And so things start getting serious where they're like, "Fuck, dude, we're getting hungry." And by now, out of all the 2,000 slaves they brought, pretty much all of them were either dead, dying, or had escaped by now. And smallpox was still a thing. So it hit a lot of them, and these guys had zero immunity. So like as they were walking, these guys through the jungle, now they're not freezing, but they're starving. They developed these blisters all over their bodies. And this was what I was talking about, where like they would just drop onto the forest floor.
Yeah.
And you would just be like, ugh, and just kind of like fucking brutal stuff.
Saw that coming.
Brutal stuff. Also, by this time too, they'd reached the Coca River. 140 Spanish had died or deserted from the original force of 220. So the herd had gotten thinned considerably. So while they're sitting there just chilling in this taken over village, they're contemplating like, what's the food situation? Orellana was put in charge of learning the languages of the captured chiefs. And he, being a bit of a language savant, Orellana picks up some Arawan Pontiac, which is Pontiac or whatever it's called, Tupion. And he started writing out a little phrase book of useful words that might come in handy in the future. What he didn't learn about, which again, this kind of fucked him up, is what kind of plants were edible and what kind of game was easy to hunt, which is a big mistake, as we'll see. But the phrase book was like a huge help. So they all just kind of chill, and everyone's getting hungrier and hungrier. And then Piazzo has an idea. He goes, "We got to build a boat." And the reason for this was, he had learned that the rivers were like various people's highways. The other civilizations had like paved roads, like the Romans had their paved roads, all this stuff. In the Amazon, it was like you didn't do paved roads because you had that river. So it was like, dude, just navigate using the river. It's way easier. You can get there way faster. So
preserve the force.
Exactly. And yeah, they were way ahead of their time. And with all the they had all their slaves were dead. So they were like, "Fuck, dude! Like, someone's got to. We're not carrying this shit." So they built boats so the boats can carry all the shit. Also, this is a question too. With all the slaves dead, I wonder who would have cooked. All the lady slaves were dead.
Yeah,
that would have kind of like, I don't know, man. If you were like a Spaniard, those conquistadors were like super macho men. If you had to be the cook, it was probably like
bitch work.
Yeah, it was negative aura for sure.
They didn't. You don't think they?
Or they'd be like, because some of the guys were astrologers.
Yeah.
That was a big thing that would come in handy. Where like a lot of those dudes, there was always like an astrologer kicking around.
That guy might not have cared either. But like, put me on cooking duty. I don't want to do all
Ever
this
was so
shit.
hungry, you probably were the hero.
Yeah, chef mogging.
I was just curious. True, they do their picture, arms crossed chef picture. So they make a boat, and honestly, too, a big inspiration from the boat was these guys all idolized Cortez, and they were like, "Fucking Cortez built a boat," so like, I gotta build a boat now. So that was kind of a thing too that was lurking in their minds when Cortez built the boat to siege Tenochtitlan. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, go back to the other part one, bro.
Yeah.
So now they're like, all right, we're gonna build a boat. The boat they were building is called the San Pedro. That was the name of it. And this is an all hands on deck situation. Orellana goes into overdrive. He's still showing off for Gonzalo Pizarro. He leads the charge on nail making, which you forget about building a boat. They had to make their own nails.
Yeah.
So this was a very tedious and time consuming process where they had to take all the non-weapon iron they had, basically like horseshoes and anything that wasn't a weapon or a shield, they would smelt it down so they could forge like thousands of little nails. And on top of that, they had to start, dropping the timber, planking it up. So on top of that too, they had to make pitch. So you have the wood, then the pitch is that stuff that kind of like waterproofs the boat. And they were using like tree resin and old shirts. Some of their shirts had started to like deteriorate. So you would just kind of mix that in with pitch to kind of, caulk the boats basically.
Yeah.
So in a month's time, this is all hands on deck. They ended up with a big ass rowboat called the San Pedro that could be rowed by 8 oarsmen and could carry about 20 to 30 people plus all their supplies. So, and it was really like whoever got to ride on it was all like sick guys. It was sick guys and supplies. So
That's kind of nice. I thought it would be like the top guys would be like, I'm on the boat.
no, the Spaniards were very good about being like, I'm not a bitch. And like they would lead. If you didn't like lead the charge, you were kind of a pussy.
You like lose the morale of your men and all. Okay.
Yeah, you had to like ride in. They didn't really do that kind of stuff.
That makes surviving those battles way more beast shit. Like,
It's kind of
you've
tight.
been in like 50 of them.
No, they would at least do first charge.
Yeah. Then they get out of there. First charge.
Yeah, they probably fucking be, all right, I'm gonna go check on.
Hit the U-turn mid-charge.
You'll see though, because they'll send people out on like suicide scouting missions. Like, how about you go ahead out there and go see what's up? Okay, so now it's November 9th, 1541. And while they don't know where they're going, they sure know where they've been. And Pizarro's basically like, okay, I'm lost. I'm not that lost. If we just walk alongside this river, he's like, I think it'll spit us out somewhere, and he's like, or we'll just keep finding Indians taking their shit and just keep going. And, maybe we'll find another one of these empires. He's starting to kind of lose his bearings. That's the main point. And again, food is still a major issue. So only a few people could fit inside the boat. The rest had to walk along the riverbank. It was a muddy mess full of creeks and streams and just tired you out. So they would plot alongside the boat and they'd stop off to snag yucca and guava from villages. And they march on like this for 43 days, just eating basically bread and fruit while they're already hungry, leading up to Christmas. And by now they're like, they're pretty fucking skinny. They're not looking good. And the country they'd inhabited or the country they'd entered, like this land they've entered, there was villages. Now it's completely uninhabited. So they don't have any villages to go like take the food from. So now they're like, hiking miles through the mud every day, kind of starving. And during this Christmas day, actually, here's the answer on the pigs. They eat their last few pigs.
Damn.
That was they ate their last few pigs. And, during the march, I'm sorry. During the march, they ate their last few pigs. Christmas Day, they had nothing. So their Christmas meal consisted of a thin gruel made from straps of boiled leather.
Boiled leather?
Yeah, they used to eat leather. That was like the final survival meal.
Oh.
You would just take like old boots and belt buckle or belts and boil them. You would boil. It's like technically animal skin, so it would boil into something you could eat. So I think now I looked it up. They highly advise you from eating leather due to the tanning process. Shit.
Getting a double call.
Yeah, let's just right there. Pause real quick. All right, we're back. We're talking about leather strap gruel. Yeah, I looked it up if you can eat leather. I was like, what's kind of cool to know if I ever had to, I could just eat my belt. And
but it's got to be true leather though, or you can't.
It's got to be true leather.
Everything that I
well, now they said that the chemicals they use in the tanning process too is like it's kind of poison. They're like, don't eat no leather gruel. I said, all right, fair enough.
They took that away from us too.
I know, dude. Can't get no real food in this country.
Okay, so now, this is a day after Christmas. People are starving. No one has any idea how to get food. There's no villages around. Murmurs of mutiny spread through the camp. And Gonzalo is just like, he's trying to lead these guys. And he's like, the only way for me to get enough food would be conquering a pretty big village, which it gets harder and harder to do as more and more starving they get because everyone's getting weaker. So he turns to Orellana like, cousin, what should I do? And sometime before Christmas, a little backstory real quick, Delicola and the other captured chiefs had escaped. No one knows how they got out, but they swam off into the murky river. But before they swam off, Orellana was kind of their bro. So they told him, they're like, Oriana, you guys, the way you're going, this is why they kind of escaped and swam away. They were like, you're about to enter like a giant no man's land. The reason that like those little things, the little villages were so spread across from each other, you'd have like friendly villages next to each other, but the intertribal warfare was so brutal that you had to like get as far away as possible from the ops, basically, because they would just come through and just like kill all the men, rape all the women, take the children as slaves. And that was just kind of, they all were doing it to each other. So you want it to be as far away from your kind of opponents as possible. So they were like, dude, okay, you guys are about to be fucked. However, if you guys decide to go up that way, keep going up the river. It's going to fork. If you look at the fork and take basically a right or whatever, you just like, the river's going one way, wherever it forks off, go that other way. If you go a couple of days up there, you're going to find villages with a ton of food and gold. So Oriana, with that information, goes to Bizarro, who's just literally sitting on a log like, fuck, dude, this shit sucks. I'm not finding any gold or cinnamon. Oriana tells Bizarro, he's like, this is what Delicola told me. And he proposes to the cousin. He goes, look, let me take the boat, the new San Pedro. Give me about like 50 or 60 of the fittest guys. Basically, it's about a quarter of the force. And he goes, I'll find food and I'll bring it back to the rest of the camp. Bizarro's like, yeah, dude, for sure. He tells everyone, Oriana will be back in 12 days. We're all going to grub. This is going to be fucking awesome. You know, blah, blah, blah. So the day after Christmas, Oriana loads up the new boat that they built, picks his men, he cherry picks, heads down the river. So now we're into the split. This is chapter 5. This is the split between Oriana and Gonzalo Pizarro. So Oriana and his men cruise down the Napo River. That's what the Coca River feeds into that. And they're moving along. They notice some of the other streams in the river feeding into the Napo or Napo, whatever it's called. So all these other rivers are feeding in, and the pace, the current's growing stronger and stronger. So they're like, fuck, this thing's going kind of fast, which is a problem because they're supposed to come back up that way to bring all the food back to the bros. So the ride, day 2 of the ride, they crash the San Pedro. They had to fix it. Day 3, they're like starting to see caimans and snakes, and they're like, bro, what the fuck? They're getting into the Amazon. They're like, this is fucking scary as shit. And more and more rivers feed into the Napo River. Now, like, dude, they're like, Oriana's like, we can't get back. We're fucked. Like, this is going to be very, very hard to get back because we're already fucking starving. So they're like, oh, shit. So a week passes. And they went from very hungry to now they're like, these guys are fucked up. It's like they fasted after a week of barely eating. Yeah. So Oriana, he's like, all right, we're too hungry. He pulls over, anchors the boat. He tells some of the guys to get out and see if they can't hunt up some game. And apparently some of the guys were so delirious with hunger, they started crawling around on all fours to graze on like weird herbs and roots like animals. So then we got more belt and boot gruel. So they get like herbs and throw them and cook up like a belt gruel. And Oriana is like, he's seeing morale just nosediving. He goes, guys, let's say a mass. He has a priest with him, Friar Gasper. So Gasper holds a mass, reminding everyone how awesome God is. And the men are like, yeah, fuck yeah, God rules. They board the boat, continue down the river.
I love that worked.
I know.
Morale boost.
Yeah, hit him with the God is good all the time.
All the time.
So
God is good.
They're like, yeah, dude, let me get up off my hands and knees. I'm being a complete bitch.
God's watching. Let me fix my shit.
Yeah, this is fucking embarrassing. They continue down the river, just laying there, dude. They're starving. New Year's Day, Oriana goes, yo, you guys fucking hear that? And they're like, what are you talking about? He goes, I can hear tribal drums. And they're all just like, bro, you're fucking full of shit. So they travel 2 more days after that. Everyone is just literally like, fuck this. Oriana pulls over again. The San Pedro, and they have a small little fleet of canoes, all hit the shore where the bros, again, dine on leather and herb soup. Just so depressed, so hungry. While they're eating the gruel, the drumming sound comes again. This time it's unmistakable. And Oriana's like, I fucking told you guys. So people are like, okay, drums means people means food. But like we said, it also means warriors. So Oriana's like, damn, dude, my guys could get mogged after the multi-week fast. Like they were completely in ketosis for sure. And he was worried that their VO2 maxes had been fucking crushed. Plus their sleep wasn't good at all. So they're like, dude, they're like, look, he's like, we're starving. We gotta eat. So they sleep just kind of uneasily. In the morning, strap up their armor, load their muskets, get back in the boats. Basically, like, we're just going to roll up on these fools and see what happens. So They go back down the river a little bit, and before long, they see a fleet of several canoes filled with native warriors. The natives bug out seeing this giant ship, and they just sound the alarm. War drums are pounding everywhere, signaling other war drums that keep pounding further and further away, telling Oriana, like, oh, fuck, dude, this is like actually like a decent, this is not just some little ragtag village. These guys are kind of organized. So Oriana's like, bro, we got to get to this first village and strike hard and fast because if they bring in the reinforcements that I think they have, they're going to fucking kill us. So they beach the San Pedro, jump out, just like, again, this must have been a weird sight because they're kind of like thin and kind of gaunt, and they just jump out with steel swords and armor. And the natives just completely cortisol spike and bail right away. So the warriors, they didn't go that far away though. They like ran out of their village, but they stood at the edge. Just kind of already got the women and children out of there. And
It's like when you scare a dog and it runs away and looks back.
That's literally what they did
over there.
Dude, and the Spaniards, they're starving. They form a circle around the perimeter of the village and just took turns grubbing on whatever food was there. So they would just grub. Someone would come tag you out, and there was like this corn beer. It was called chichan or something. So there was beer and grub, and they just start chugging beer and eating fish, fruit, monkey meat for hours. And until the number of warriors, more and more people came to be like, dude, who are these guys? And why are they grubbing like this? So Oriana now completely full, fearing a nasty cramp, was like, we can't fight these guys. We're so full. So, and he was seeing the numbers swelling against him. This is where Oriana's language, dude, his language skills come into play because Oriana was able to, in their language, be like, dude, you guys fucking rock. Thank you so much for this food. And now the chief rolls up and he's like, like, holy fuck, I didn't know you could speak our language. He's like, what do you guys need? And they're like, please, more food. And the chief just throws a feast for these guys. And Oriana, everyone's just stoked on each other. These guys are like, thank God these weirdos in this giant boat aren't here to kill us. So after a few days of feasting, Oriana does a quick requerimiento speech. That was a speech you were legally obliged to give to a native population, telling them that they were all now officially Christian vassals of the Spanish king, would have eternal life, were now subjected to their new king. And his language skills weren't that good. So the chief was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Oriana was just like, nah, you're good, man. Don't worry about it.
I didn't even really want to do it. I just kind of had to.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, you'll be all right, man. He hit him with the car commercial. He's like, yeah, 30 So now Oriana, though, he's got a situation on his hands. They figured out the food situation. The problem is, he goes, there's no fucking way I can get this back up river. I almost died getting down river.
Yeah.
How the fuck? There's no way I'm getting back. And he goes to his guys. He goes, oh, what do you guys want to do? And all of his guys were like, dude, we should bring our bros some food, but like, man, that current's pretty strong. Ooh, man, I don't know, dude. Like, we could all definitely starve to death if we head up there. Ah, shit. So then Oriana covers his ass. He offers a cash reward for 6 men to load up some canoes with food, which I guess are easier to paddle, and go upstream to meet and feed Pizarro while they wait in the village. And it took like 2 weeks with the current. So we're like, bro, we could definitely just die trying to paddle out. So everyone, he waits for, he does the offer to cover his own ass. And everyone is like, yeah, fuck that. Apparently 2 guys were like, fine, I'll do it. And Oriana's like, nah, it's not even enough guys.
Yeah.
Because they had literally just almost died of starvation. So Oriana, he could have ordered them sword point. He could have took 6 guys to cover his own ass legally and been like, do it or I'll fucking kill you. And but he was just a cool boss, so he didn't do that. Definitely, probably smoked weed if I had to guess. Cool ass boss. So by now, Oriana is like, yo, okay. The new plan is no fucking way any of us are going back to meet Gonzalo. But he goes, I need to figure out a way to legally satisfy my justification to. It was kind of a mutiny, basically. He disobeyed orders, and it was like life or death orders, which everyone could have died. But his problem was like, well, I don't want my guys to die. So if those guys are fucked and I just go back to die voluntarily, like, what's the point of that? So he was like, and also he's like, hey, maybe who knows, we'll even find them. They might have walked. Who knows where the fuck they are. They had overstayed the fucking 12-day thing by far. Yeah. So like they're in the jungle. They don't even know where they're at. The problem was Gonzalo was as we saw with burning all those guys and feeding them to dogs, absolute brute. And if you got on his bad side, like, Oriana was more or less facing hanging if he got back to Quito, and Gonzalo was like, you little motherfucker. Yeah. Gonzalo would have brutally murdered him in front of everybody. So he has to come up with like a legal thing to be able to get back out of that. So Oriena's like, all right, we're not going back upstream. I'll deal with Gonzalo. I'll figure it out as we go. So he goes, guys, you know what we're going to do? Again, fucking conquistador stuff. He goes, we're going to build another boat. It's like, okay. But they wanted, because the problem, because by now Oriena was like, our only hope is he had heard that river feeds into a bigger river, which they called the Maranon, which was the Amazon River. But they knew that river, although they'd never seen it, they had an idea that fed out into the Atlantic Ocean, which they called the Mar Dulce, because there was the Amazon is such a massive amount of fresh water. When it hits the Atlantic, there's like a miles long stretch of fresh water in the ocean that then turns to brackish, obviously, and then pure salt water. So they were like, if we take this big river, this river will take us to the big one, which will take us out to the ocean. We need a giant boat, because the San Pedro, it's a sick, massive rowboat. It could never handle the Atlantic Ocean. So now they genuinely need like a boat that can eventually take the ocean. So back to Pizarro. Meanwhile, Gonzalo Pizarro is just completely fucking hangry. He's not wanting his guys. He's like, I don't want my guys to laze around in despair. He wants to keep morale up.
You need some Snickers.
Big time, dude. He would have for real blown the both of you back to back for completion for a Snickers. Just saying. He was that hungry. He would have like this. Hand. And he would have got you hard again and blew you again. So he's like, I don't want my guys to sit around and just fucking sulk. He orders his 200 guys to hack their way through the jungle along the riverbank, figuring they shorten the return time for Oriena. So he's like trying to hook Oriena up. Oriena's like, yeah, fuck that guy. I'm not going back. But there was a problem. Again, like we said, Oriena is not coming back. And they'd never agreed on a rendezvous point, mainly because they didn't go to the place. They had no idea where anything really was. But, he's got to keep the hope alive. So Gonzalo and his dudes just keep hacking their way through this punishingly hot jungle, making about 3 miles a day as they walk their horses over like slimy dead trees and just like boggy forest-like conditions, kind of, from the rain. So finally, Pizarro hits a run of luck. They discover 5 abandoned native canoes. So now he goes, all right, he dispatches a few of his guys up the river in search of food. He's like, where the fuck is goddamn Oriena? You guys go look for food and come back. He tells his other guys, go hunt some fucking food. And they end up catching herbs, snakes, lizards, bugs, and just pretty much anything to keep themselves going. And by now, too, they're all very salt depleted, which is apparently what really fucks you up.
Well, that was good for you.
No. That's what we've been told the whole time. No, when you don't have enough salt, it creates like severe physiological problems. And these guys, not even like we get enough salt in our regular diet. They're just like munching like leather and bugs. There's zero salt. So it gives you like wicked cramps, weakness. You get confusion. So yeah, you get like, that was worse than the hunger. The salt depletion was really fucking these guys up. So the guy he'd sent on the canoe was Pineda, because he already knew the land. So he sent the guy he had kind of tapped to join him. So Pineda goes off on a search mission.
Solo?
A couple of guys.
Okay.
This is a few. So 8 days into the, Pineda being gone, they're literally eating lizards and bugs. That's all they're eating right now. The expeditionary force, Pineda, returns, on their canoes, telling Gonzalo, like, no food, no tree slashes. I don't know where the fuck this goes. Usually they would leave tree slashes for each other to find, like, which way they went. He's like, we saw a couple and then they just went away. So now Gonzalo starts going, fuck, dude. Like, was he killed by Indians? Was he lost? Or, and the brainworm entity goes, that little fucker abandoned us. So Gonzalo,
I know he left.
It starts to hit him and he's like, motherfuckers. He starts writing nasty letters to the king after this. So Gonzalo sends Pineda. He goes, all right, dude, you go off in these canoes. I'll give you some more guys. Now your orders are go to find Oriena, or at least some food in return, or else we are going to die for sure. So Pineda sets off, leaving a pretty grisly brunch session where the other Spaniards were eating the remains of dead dogs, the entrails and all, which is like, ugh. And they're getting ready to butcher an emaciated horse. And he's like, all right, I'll catch you guys later. So Pineda goes further than the guy. Oh, sorry. I kind of fucked up. Pineda wasn't the guy who went on that first expedition and came back. That was a different guy. So my bad. Okay. So Pineda now goes way further than that guy. He takes the canoe and he finally finds some marks in the trees left by Oriena. And he goes, oh, okay. They pull over. So they're looking and they're like, maybe this is the spot Delicola was talking about as the fork in the river that led to the wealthy kingdom, blah, blah, blah. So he tries following Oriena's slash marks, but they grew sparse and eventually just disappeared. So Pineda judging on how long Oriana had been gone, was like, yo, this dude, and he had faced the current as well. He's like, there's no way this guy's fucking coming back. So they dine on some bugs and lizards, and then they make the return voyage, fighting that hard current that Oriana, which to be fair to Oriana, he had that massive fucking ship.
Yeah.
Canoes were easier to make it, although he could have dispatched. I don't know. He was trying to get the grub. He could have dispatched a guy at this point, but he's like, let's just keep going. And to be fair to it, the guy Pineda, it felt like his canoe could barely move.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're getting an 8 oarsman boat with, all your supplies and 20 people on it. So to be fair, it was like, he kind of made the right decision to not go back.
They would have died.
Yeah, they would have been fucked. But on the way back, they find something. Pineda finds rows of planted crops. So they bank the boats and they step out and they're like, all right, we're going to fight whoever's like growing these things. But no one was there. It's just miles of yucca crops across the river. And if you don't know what yucca is, it's like a sweet potato, basically. It's like a big sweet potato that you can't eat raw, as we'll see. It has major problems. They contain not arsenic, but something that leads to arsenic once you metabolize it. So
and they just started grubbing them.
You fucking know they did, dude. So they get to the yucca crops. Spaniards are just like, thank fucking God, we're going to live. We found food. They have a complete yucca feast. But Pineda, luckily, though, had the good sense to start some fires so they could properly cook the yucca. Like we said, if eaten raw, it can be poisonous. So 27 days after setting out, this is like after even which was his name had been gone for a while, Oriana.
Right,
Pineda pulls up on a absolutely ghoulish display of his comrades just like laying on the riverbank, starving. They're just not looking good. They see their brother Pineda. They start to shout for joy when they see him pulling up with all the yucca. And by this time, they were so hungry. Now they start eating it raw, dirt and all, unable to wait to get the fires going. So after their meal, Pizarro and company take a pretty brutal 10-day float trek, as some of them walk, some of them float in the boats, to get to the yucca farm. All of them were as hungry as they had been when they left, because they got a little snack. So they descend upon the yucca fields like locusts, eating as much as their stomachs could hold. Again, many of them during that, like dining on the raw yucca fresh out of the soil, had like fucked up. They had some belly problems.
Yeah.
Like we said before, raw yucca is toxic.
Yeah, so they had a little bit of Montezuma's revenge.
It was apparently they would get like distended bellies and just throw up and shit violently. And the problem though is like there's sweet yucca and there's bitter yucca. Bitter yucca has more of that like cyanide like poison. So you could eat some of the regular yuccas raw and it wouldn't make you that sick.
Yeah.
But then you eat a bitter one and like these dudes, the guys who ate the bitter ones, it's like toxic to the point where they started rolling around, blabbering nonsense, their stomach sticking out, just throwing up, horrible indigestion on top of like starvation, basically. So it doesn't take Pizarro a long time to figure out that
there's no like a bathroom to go to either. You're just rolling, throwing,
and you're
up,
delirious.
shitting.
You're delirious. So you're just rolling, shitting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Pizarro, after pretty quickly goes, oh, dude, the raw yucca is what's bad for people. He tells everyone to chill. Fires are lit so they can cook it properly. But by now the damage is already done. So now you have a bunch of starving Spaniards now hurling and blasting diarrhea, completely harshing what was supposed to be a joyous fucking, a meal after almost starving to death. So Gonzalo gets the bros under control, though 2 do die from the poisoning. And eventually they eat the right way and they slowly regain their strength. Now that they had food, Pizarro returns himself to another task, bitterly cursing Oriana. Oriana left with their main boat and most of their weapons. Pizarro writes a letter saying he took all their weapons. He was a bit of a fibber trying to get Oriana in trouble. So he writes a missive to the king where he states that Oriana fucked him and requests official traitor status so that he could kill him.
But he did he saw how fucked up the water was, right? He still was like, fuck that.
He's basically like, should have done it.
He should have died coming back.
So, and by now, this sets off a thing where Pizarro and Oriana are writing letters to the Spanish crown to defend what they decided to do.
Yeah.
And Pizarro's letter, he sent it in 1542, accusing Oriana of treachery and abandonment. And Oriana, meanwhile, had his men sign documents stating that the return upstream was physically impossible due to the current, that he attempted to find volunteers, but none of them would go. And basically, like, these guys disobeyed me, but if I had like been like, all right, fine, fuck you guys, I was responsible for them, they would have died in this jungle. They were in the land of the heathen. Yeah. And they were like, and that's what the letter is so funny that he writes. So like the brave captain saved us from the heathens. So Gonzalo, he writes the fucking nasty letter about Oriana, the mutinous traitor. He goes, all right, fuck El Dorado. Me and all of our guys, we're going to get this yucca and we're going to figure out how to get back to Quito. Just get the hell out of the jungle. I'm going to escape this jungle and I'll go back to dealing with Oriana's fucking traitorous ass. So now, and Oriana's plan, like the whole thing is just they've already given up. It's the beginning and they're like, yeah, this is impossible. Gonzalo, they're just trying to get back to Quito over the mountains, basically.
Yeah.
Oriana's going, I'm going to get back a super roundabout way all the way down the Amazon into the Atlantic and kind of sail back.
To get back to where his boys are?
Or to Spain, whatever's closest.
Okay.
It's like, let's get the fuck out of
They
here.
both kind of gave up on each other.
Yeah, I mean, they're gone. He's like, fuck her. It's purely on site with Oriana. So now we're back to Oriana. So he and his 60 bros, they're just living it up at this village, forging nails so they can build this other boat they can sail in the Atlantic with eventually. And, like we said, their plan now is to escape as well. So they figured they would get all the way out. The only problem was all their boat building experts were in Pizarro's camp. And the natives, they were just feeding them and even helping making their nails. Oriana, during this, he had noticed some of the chiefs flashing gold jewelry, but he commanded all of his dudes. He was like, guys, we need the food they're giving us is way more important. Don't you fucking dare.
They were grimy.
Fucking dare. Oh, yeah, very grimy.
Grimy. Oh, you're helping us, but I see your gold chain.
Oh, he would do shit too where it was like, and we'll see later on because they go to another village later on, but like there was a serious concern for one. You had 60 guys. The chances of one of them sneaking out at nighttime and raping a villager, super high.
Yeah.
So you had to get these guys so tired and have that priest constantly in their ear, like, bro, like, dude, how sick is God, dude? Because it was like
God
they would
hates rapes.
and if one of those guys did it, they would all die.
Yeah.
So it was like, and the gold is the same thing. He's like, they would go try to sneak in. It was like these guys, you had to really keep them under wraps. Luckily for these guys, this is what happened to them. So while they're making these nails, during this time, the chiefs would just, from the villages kept coming to visit, Oriana and talk to the guys. He told them about the legend of the Amazon island, which is an island full of beautiful female warriors.
The Amazonians.
That's where it came from.
Yep. So there was they apparently these guys, you have the horniest dudes. The Spaniards are probably so fucking bricked up by now. And these guys would come by and be like, if you guys keep going, there's going to be an island full of beautiful babes that they're powerful warriors that every now and again they come to the mainland and just kidnap guys so they can get cream pies from them. And then they ship them back out. And any of the boys born on the island, they just like put on the mainland. They just keep the girls. So he's like, it's an island full of powerful, horny women. And the Spaniards are just working so hard on these nails being like, bro, we have to get there.
Wait.
We got to get there. They were definitely, and the legend of the female warriors ultimately is what gave the Amazon River its name. They named it after the fucking like mystical babes,
ladies.
mythical babes, just hard as the nails they were making. Dude. So they work like crazy for 3 weeks. That's actually funny. That's insane that's where it actually came from.
And like to this day, we still like see a tall, bad lady and go, she's an Amazon.
Exactly, bro. The dream has never died. We got to find the island. And then we can go, babe, we got fucking kidnapped by powerful female warriors. I didn't want a fucking pie.
Yeah, death by snooze, babe.
So they work for 3 weeks making these nails. Suddenly they notice a vibe shift. The food's coming slower and slower. Oriana takes the hint. And he tells his guys, he goes, yo, gather the nails. We're going to pack the boats and get the hell out of here. Fill it up with food, all we can get. I don't want these dudes turning on us. Let's get the fuck out of here. They're slowing up on the food. And that had happened to Cortez a bunch of times where the food starts coming slower and slower. And usually that precedes some weird like attack. So they try to get you weak and then they attack you. Who knows? But he goes, I'm getting the hint that they want us the fuck out of here. So he goes, he's like, I don't want to sour the relations with these people because there's like tribes. They're like kinsfolk. There's more of them up the river. So he's like, let's not piss these guys off. So maybe a new village will take us in. So he tells the chief, he goes, yeah, I think we're going to get the hell out of here. And before he does, he writes a document sending it to the king where, again, he goes, bro, just so you know, I wanted nothing more to return to Pizarro. But like we said, he has his guys admit that they were the ones who bitched out and refused, which then like lets him off the hook, basically.
They won't get in trouble for that?
Apparently not. I don't know why, because they weren't like, it wasn't, I don't know. Who knows? But the thing is, he could have ordered them at sword point. And he goes, I'm not going to do that, but you guys got to be like, yeah, like we couldn't, we were going to die. Which I guess they could just disappear afterwards. But Gonzalo like was running a whole province, which like it was hard for him to kind of hide.
Disappear,
Yeah. So, and if he could have, but it would suck. So he'd be back to being a total peasant.
Mm-hmm.
So he has all of his guys sign it, admitting that they bitched out, not him. And even the priest signs it, which like adds weight to it. So that day they're like, all right, say bye to the priest, load the boat with food and nails, and they take off. So now they float on and they eat some turtles. Natives gave them turtles, which is like, yo, thanks, fucking sick. Eventually, the river they were on, the Napo, finally feeds into the fabled Amazon River, which again they called the Maranon. This was February 12th, 1542. And they hit the Amazon and they were just completely like, what the fuck? It was unlike anything else they'd ever seen. And the Amazon, so just to give you like an idea of how big it is, as they entered the Amazon, it was like, it almost felt like they were entering the sea. Like there was just the riverbank was so far away. There was entire trees that had like fallen over in storms, just like floating down like sticks.
Yeah.
Like they said it was absolutely fucking crazy. And just so you know about the Amazon River is approximately 4,000 to 4,500 miles long. Well, the exact length is disputed. It discharges about 20% of the world's freshwater supply into the ocean. So, 209,000 cubic meters per second, whatever. The Nile's technically longer than the Amazon, but the discharge volume of water, the Amazon dwarfs it by, it's like 10 times more water than the Nile. So it's like the second biggest river is like nothing compared to the Nile's like the second biggest one, and the Amazon just completely fucking mogs it. It's like some of the widest points too can be 30 miles wide from riverbank to riverbank. And also, what was the last little fact about it? Oh, there's an island at the mouth of the Amazon where it feeds into the Atlantic. It's called Marajo Island. It's roughly the size of Switzerland. So it's massive.
Yeah.
The Amazon River. It's like, what was the other one? There was another one where it's discharges 1/4. It's 60 times. That's what it was. It discharges 60 times more water than the Nile.
Sheesh. And that's number 2.
Yeah,
No.
number two. The Nile's number 2. So it's like not even close, dude. All the other massive rivers are like smaller than the tributaries that feed into the Amazon. It's just, dude, it's so fucking, I love the Amazon's fucking sick. So they enter the Amazon and they're like, what the fuck, man? Now, like, they thought some of those rivers were bad. They get into this. They're like, dude, this is like, this is no joke. There's floating islands. There's trees, entire trees, a lot of fucking scary animals on the bank. So they cruise for a few days, get their bearings. Finally, a fleet of native canoes pull up to them. Oriana worries like, fuck, are these guys want to kill us? But, they're like, we need food. It's like, they're kind of like, fuck, we got to get food off these guys. So they're like, let's go see what's up. Luckily, these guys are part of the same group he had just left.
So they knew they were chill.
Different village. They had got word these guys were chill. Welcome them with open arms. Oriana's language skills are paying off fucking huge. They exchanged gifts. The natives, they're like, all right, look. And they just kind of exchange gifts and like, yo, you guys keep going. Keep going. Like, we'll catch up with you later. So as they pull up on a massively bustling village, like way bigger than the one they just left, and Oriana's like, oh, fuck, I think they just trapped us. They were just pretending to be cool with us.
Oh.
So now they ready the weapons and row the boat. It's kind of sick how they do this. They like crash land on a shore, and they go ramming speed and go boom, and they jump out fully like armored up, like, what's up, fool, with the weapons. And the chief is like, damn, fool, what's the matter with you? It's like, we're just trying to, literally the chief goes like, we're just trying to fucking party. What, you're fucking tripping, man. And then Oriana's like, oh, dude, my bad. I'm so bummed. I thought you guys wanted to kill us all. And then the chief is like, no, dude, let's fucking feast. So they get to eat manatee, which funny enough, now we're into Lent, and the Spaniards only could eat meat or only eat fish on Fridays in Lent. But seeing a manatee, they're like, yo, that's a huge fish. And like into the process, they learned it was actually a mammal because they heard that like they suckle.
Yeah.
But they were I think they all cut themselves slack because apparently manatee was like the most delicious thing they've ever eaten.
Really?
They said it was so fatty. They were like, dude, just a little. They were like, manatee fills you up, like pause obviously, but they were like, it like fortifies you more than anything we've ever eaten before.
Now that might have been just because they were hungry as shit.
And they're hungry as fuck.
Hungry as hell.
And it was a nice thing for Friday where they didn't have to not eat meat. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna munch this giant fucking. They called it a fish, which is funny. And the chief was like, bro, chill here as long as you want. We prepared huts for you. Like, you guys are good. Like, you got housing and everything. So Oriana scouts the area, sees a bunch of good boat building timber, and decides, he's like, all right, we're going to build our boat here. We're going to take the boat to sea. No problem. Well, the only problem is he learns from the chief. This is Apiara or Aparia. That was the name of this like tribe. He's like, as soon as we leave their territory, we're going to enter their enemy's lands, the Amagua. And he's like, these dudes, like, our guys will be cool with you guys. As soon as you enter Amagua territory, they're literally they're going to try to kill you. First
on site.
Right off the bat. They're going to try their best. They're going to see you and go, we're going to kill you right away. So now they're chilling. They're building their boat. The boat's name was the Victoria, by the way. So they're building this new big boat. And, so they're sitting there. It's kind of nice, man. They're grubbing. They're having a good time. And the chiefs from the area would come and they're kind of fascinated. Like, what the fuck is this boat? They only ever built canoes. They're like, dude, this thing's wild.
Yeah.
They're getting visited by chiefs, trading gifts here and there. Out of nowhere, these other chiefs roll up, dude, and they were tall albino. They were taller than the Spaniards. So they were like, they thought these guys were like giants. So these like albino Indian dudes roll up on them.
Sounds like the tall whites to me.
It's crazy white boys.
Yeah.
Could have been the tall whites too. Dude, nobody knows. Nobody got you. Nobody, as I said that, I'm like, oh, you're talking about something else. Nobody
Just
fucking knows. So
basketball
here's the
players.
theories, because apparently too, though, the albino giants were, according to like the Spaniards, they seemed the most advanced. They had the most, they had like really good manners, and they were like, he was like, these guys are just different, dude. They're like, they were kind of like intimidated by him. They're like, dude, whoever these
That
guys are.
sounds like the tall white.
It could have been the tall whites.
In
So-
the middle of the Amazon, too? That's where they
Getting
would chill.
gold is a very conductive like metal.
Yeah. Yep.
So here's the theories, because I was kind of looking into this, like, who the fuck were these guys? So, and the truth is, nobody knows. So one theory is it could have been indigenous people with albinism, a genetic condition, blah, blah, blah. And they said that sometimes the Arawak, who apparently, I think they were pretty advanced as a group, they have documented cases of albinism. And some of them even have high rates of 1 in 200 for like, Hopi had apparently 1 out of 200 Hopi Indians had albinism, which is kind of crazy. Also, the albinos were given special status in South America. They were just considered heavily, again, could be tall whites.
Yeah.
So there was that. And also there's another thing where if you like apparently eunuch someone early on, it would send their pituitary stuff into overdrive that would make people grow super tall. So it could have been the childhood, they could have castrated albinos and turned them into giants. The truth is, no one knows, but Oriana liked them so much. And he's like, you guys please bring your chief here. We want to meet him so bad. And they just never came back. They're like, no, fucking, we're moving on. Probably hit the spaceship, obviously.
Yeah.
So they get back to building the boat. They probably time traveled to Nevada and crashed. And they get back to the boat, and Oriana, thinking smartly, he goes, look, this is what we're talking about before. He keeps these guys working around the fucking clock. 'Cause now this is a big village. They got fucking all horned up from hearing about the Amazon island. And, so he uses Lent he gets the priest. He's like, I want you guys like just nonstop in these dudes' ears, just being like, look, they work all day at nighttime. I want you talking to every single one of these guys about like God stuff. Because if one of these freaks rapes one of these Indians, like, we're dead. So, and again, I was like looking into this, like, was it frowned upon to how frowned upon was it to rape an indigenous woman while you're like, like on one of these voyages? And apparently not at all.
Yeah.
I think it was more like, you fucking dog.
Yeah.
It was condemned by the
Yeah.
church and crown. The king, if he found out, you would get in trouble.
Oh, but
So
like when you're in the
It was
mix.
illegal.
Yeah.
Didn't Cortez marry that one lady?
Malinche.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he kind of loved that lady.
He strangled his wife to death for
He
her.
literally
did
strangled his wife.
to death for her.
No, and he didn't. It didn't read that he she was a sex slave. Like, she was a sex slave before she got even sold into sex slavery by Cortez. She's been a
an old
fallen
pro.
royal. She was a sporting gal for sure. But so yeah, I was curious about that. And yeah, apparently it was like, it was just kind of inconvenient. It was like, dude, if you rape one of these chicks and get us fucked up, we're gonna be pissed at you. It's crazy. So while the boat's being built, Oriana handles some legal matters. Again, he's still worried about having his big cuz Gonzalo on him. So he does a thing similar to what Cortez did with Velasquez with his Patron, and he formally dissolved his captaincy and formed a new venture where he was like, that venture's done. I'm forming a new one. So like all my actions here on out, like I don't have to answer to him, blah, 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 blah. The whole thing iterated. We already talked about it. He ordered his guys to find Pizarro. The men refused. So rather than let them, die alone in this perilous land of infidels, he would lead them back to their people.
Spain.
Yeah. So, okay, this is out of the way. It's all hands on deck. The repair of the San Pedro, finished construction of the new boat, the Victoria. And the new boat is significantly bigger than the San Pedro, having 18 oarsmen as opposed to San Pedro's 8 oarsmen. This is big. This is also something of a battleship, which, they kind of needed hearing they're going into enemy territory. So with everything out of the way, Orellana tells his men, he's like, all right, let's get ready to go. They've been in Aparia for nearly 2 months while building the boat and had been truly living it up, eating turtles, fish, manatee, hot peppers, yuca, and drinking chicha, which is that like corn beer we talked about.
That had to be nice.
It's literally light beer. It's like a mildly alcoholic corn beer. So on April 24th, 1542, the men board San Pedro, the newly built Victoria, and they are just completely loaded with food and push off, bidding farewell to the chief, embarking on the new quest of pure discovery now. They'd given up the gold, but they were like, we're going to discover, take notes, and tell the king, like, yo, here's where you want to strike if you get there. Also, they want to curry favor with the king so that he didn't allow Gonzalo to basically kill his fucking ass.
Yeah.
Now we're back to Gonzalo. We're back to Pizarro. Okay, I'm looking at the time here. Back to Pizarro. While Orellana and the boys have been yucking it up in Apuria, Pizarro and his guys are enduring an absolutely hellish existence. Everyone is like paper thin. Most of them are sick now and bloated from eating the bad yuca, covered in mosquito bites. And Gonzalo himself, like we said, was like, why the fuck did I ever even do this? I'm already rich. Why the fuck I'm going to die now. And he now, like, because, he just, I don't know, he just wanted to kind of like prove himself against his brother,
Yeah, he wanted
the Incas. But now he's basically beggar maxing in the jungle, which fucking sucks. Dude. He's like, I'm going to fucking die. I'm starving. I look skinny as hell. But Gonzalo, he was a tough bro. So he orders his men to move on. He goes, we will find a way out of here. And some of the guys were so swollen from the poisonous yucca, from the raw yucca, that they couldn't stand on their feet because their feet had gotten so inflamed that they got tied to skinny horses to be carted around, which really pissed off the walking guys. The walking guys were just like fucking pussies, dude. You would just be like mummified on a horse and guys would just spit at you and you'd be like, bitch.
Sorry, God. Yeah.
It's kind of brutal.
I have too much yucca gout.
Yeah. So finally they come across a village. Pizarro squad, looking literally straight out of the Thriller video, scare the natives. They run right away. They're like, what the fuck are these? But again, the Indians, a bit curious, come back and they hesitantly throw some food to the Spaniards, who thank them with little gifts and trinkets. Pizarro tries to inquire about the best route back to Quito, but again has zero language skills and got nothing in info. And he's just like, the guys just like kind of point and they go across like a pretty shitty path. They go the wrong way, basically, which like if they went one way, they could have walked like village to village and ate. They go the wrong way due to the communication breakdown. So they walk through, again, barely inhabited lands, no food, finally stumble across another group of Indians who are like, yo, dudes, I don't even know how you found us. The way you're going, you are not going to find anybody. You guys are going to fucking die. Like, that's kind of crazy. So, Pizarro finally breaks down and is like, we're fucking lost. It's like, I have no idea where we're going.
He's
like,
he publicly spazzed to his boys.
He spazzed. He goes, I don't know where the fuck we're going. He taps
We're
Pineda
cooked.
because they didn't know which way it was Quito. They were like,
Yeah.
I can't tell. So he taps Pineda again. He goes, yo, take a canoe, go upriver, scout it out. So Gonzalo, he's like, I'll head the charge to the jungle hacking trees and I'll leave little signs as to where I am. So every day I want you to go a few miles upriver, double back, and we'll all camp together. Everyone stays together. No more splitting up. And so then they embark on this part of the journey, which was called, quotes, the worst march ever through the Indies. That's so funny. And apparently there was some truth to the claim of the worst march ever through the Indies. For one, like we said, most of their shoes had disintegrated, leaving them to limp through the jungle barefoot. Damn. The pants had gone. So legs are getting slashed by thorns, starving, getting bit by mosquitoes. And the whole time, most of them had brutal diarrhea while being rained on continuously.
You just walk and dump.
You walk, dump. You're walking through the muds. You're dumping. It's not even making a difference.
They're living like a homeless person in Austin.
They're doing the worst march ever down 6th Street. So, okay, meanwhile, Pineda and a handful of bros are having a whale of a time paddling against the mighty currents of the river. Eventually, they come across a little armada of native canoes chilling in the distance, holding spears up. They're like, I dare you to fucking come up here. Pineda just, they're so hungry right now. They have no time for games. They light the flint on the musket, no questions asked, blast one of them square in the chest. One of his bros fires a crossbow, kills the other guy, or hits the other Indian in the arm. The native warrior pulls the arrow out of his arm, throws it back at the Spaniards, which is followed by a volley of spears and darts. But Pineda and his bro, viciously outnumbered, fire again, killing 2 more of the Indians. And they raised their swords in an all-out charge, but the Indians were so scared of the gunfire that how their comrades just died instantly. They just tuck tail, get out of dodge, jump out of the canoes. And it's funny. They paddle away, but the Spaniards follow in hot pursuit, blasting them with muskets. And then the natives jump out of the canoes and swim to shore. Pineda rolls up to the canoes, delighted to see them loaded with fish and other food. Pineda and his bro have been eating nothing but roots and herbs for days, feast on the fish, and then carry their upriver voyage.
It had to be a fired up fight. Like you're starving to death.
Oh, yeah.
Starts with you. You're like, I don't feel like.
Then
this
he
shit.
just went, fuck this. Boom. Shot him. The next day, the rain lightens, the fog clears, giving Pineda a view of the Andes Cordillera, which is the mountain range they crossed to get there. So he goes, oh, there's Quito on the other end of that. So he's like, fuck yeah. So him and his boys double back with the fish haul and tell Gonzalo the good news. So Gonzalo and his bros having no idea he hasn't gotten back yet. Gonzalo and his bros, meanwhile, they're still on the worst march ever. So they have no idea that there's good news coming. So they just carry their march upriver, all of them looking like skeletons. There's dudes just dropping dead along the way. By now, there's 2 dogs and a few horses left. Every other animal is being eaten or has died. Also, the few horses that were still alive are now being subjected to a pretty shitty thing where the Spaniards would slice cuts of meat out of their sides that they would eat while the horses kept walking, turning them basically into like food trucks. And they would pack the horses' wounds with mud and clay so they didn't bleed out, but they would stop every now and again, remove the clay bandage so they could fill their helmets with horse blood and then pack the wound back up with mud to stop the flow of blood. Then they would toss some herbs and plants in their helmet and heat it up and make like a blood soup that they would fucking sip on. Gonzalo, obviously very high tea, presses on despite everything. Finally, he's met by Pineda, who's like, bro, the mountains are right there. We're going to get here. And there's a village somewhere nearby. All we got to do is take the village, grub, climb the mountains. We're back. Problem was these guys were in no condition to fight. So Gonzalo taps this guy, Acosta. This is what I'm talking about. He sends him kind of on a little suicide mission. He goes, yo, take a small force of the healthiest men to scout ahead for any villages. Go in the direction, Pineda came from. So Acosta pushes on, finds a village. The village is situated on an elevated promontory, which is just like a high point in the land that juts out into a body of water or something. It's like a really sick place to camp out. And but it has a natural defensive advantage.
Yeah.
So Acosta's like, damn, they got the fucking high ground. So we got to do a surprise attack. We're outnumbered. We're starving. Let's hit him with a surprise attack. And so they go up the hill and they fight a handful of warriors stationed outside the perimeter of the village. Eventually win the battle, though they suffered some wounds themselves in the process. But it was all worth it, being the village was absolutely loaded with grub. So Pizarro and the rest of the guys, it's kind of fucked up. He sent a couple guys like, yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like going. So the rest of the guys roll up a little bit later, victorious chow sesh. But they were kind of like, damn, sad because 7 more guys dropped dead on the walk there.
Yeah.
Also, they could all see the Andes Mountains now. So they're going like, dude, sick, but also they're remembering the journey over them from the beginning. They're all rested and well fed was hard. They're like, fuck, this is going to be very tough to get back over there. But they stay, they chill for like a week or two, grub until they get their strength, and they go, all right, fuck it. Let's go there.
They make new pants and shoes and stuff.
Nah, man, these motherfuckers are basically naked.
Mm.
So, and they also
your dick getting bitten by an Amazon bug,
dude, brutal, brutal.
God.
And also, too, they encountered another group of peaceful Indians on the way to the mountain range who took them in and fed them for 10 more days. They also told Gonzalo about a shortcut to Quito, but they're like, you have to cross a river with surging rapids. And Gonzalo being like, I want to get the fuck back. He's like, who cares? So he goes there. They're like, shit.
The river?
Yeah. They had to lose a few days building the bridge, but they gained some more, and because it was a shortcut. One night, while camping out while the bridge is being built, Gonzalo and his bros see a massive comet blazing in the sky. And that night, Gonzalo has a fucked up dream of a dragon ripping his heart from his chest. So that morning, Gonzalo calls on his bro, well-versed in astrology and dream reading, to interpret. The bro tells him that the object he most prized was dead, and that was the meaning of his dream. He's like, okay. So Gonzalo is like, I got to get back. I want to see what's going on. Pushes his men over the mountains. They arrive finally in Quito. People are coming out to greet them, horrified at the sight of emaciated, naked men coming out of the jungle, just literally looking like wild animals. The bros head straight to church. They come naked. They go right into church to PTL. Gonzalo, probably ruminating on, what he would do to Oriana. He's like, fucking, I'm going to kill this son of a bitch so bad. But as they go to church to get back, to get settled, him and his boys are just grubbing, dude. They're just fucking munching down, haven't eaten in forever. As he's just starting to eat, someone comes up to him and is like, oh, dude, you hear about your brother, Francisco, the guy who conquered the Indians? And he's like, no. He's like, oh, he was brutally murdered in a political coup. Fallout from the Civil War with the Almagros. So, dude, it was like, and this had happened like a year ago.
Yeah.
So, like, pretty soon after he set off, his brother got killed. We're gonna get we're gonna do this. We got time. Beautiful. So here's what happened to Francisco Pizarro. Like, how did the guy get killed? Well, like we said, during the first hours back, as they're gorging themselves on food, they get word, and so. What had happened? This is also a shitty way. You're just starting to eat, and the guy tells you your brother died. That must be a weird feeling.
You're like so happy to be eating and just like, oh,
fuck.
Well, you ruined dinner.
Yeah. It's like that thing on the Instagram memes. He goes, fuck. Fuck. So this is what happened to Francisco. This is Francisco's final days. So about a year before they arrived back in Quito, in June 1541, Francisco, he was the rightful governor of New Castile, that entire conquered land in South America. He'd been living a pretty active life because he was like I think like second richest guy to the king basically at this point, or maybe top 10 for sure. And but he didn't like to sit around and do rich guy stuff like falcon hunting. So by now he's 63 years old. He's a retired military captain. He kept himself busy by working the fields alongside the native laborers, and he just loved the physicality of the work. So. And so that's all he did all day. He's like worked in the fucking fields himself to get a pump. But he did have a lot of political rivals, and there was a lot of people who were like jockeying for his position. So one of the people who was really out for him was obviously the descendants of that guy Almagro that they had killed and they'd warred against and killed him. So that guy, the Almagro family still felt very sore and were petitioning the king to reevaluate this appointment, being like, bro, fuck this. This guy he shouldn't have this title. This guy's a traitor, blah, blah, blah. So Francisco, hearing this, taps his little brother Hernando, who was 38 years old by now. He goes, yo, load up a ship with treasure, head to Spain and speak with the king. Give him some gold and make sure everything's cool, that, I keep my position, and basically tell the Almagros they don't have shit. They don't have treasure. Like, the king will listen to me. But a rep from the Almagro camp had beat Hernando, Francisco's brother, to the king, telling the king, like, they gave him their version of the story, killed their own countrymen before Garrett, blah, blah. It's like total bullshit. So Hernando gets to Spain, and he has no idea. It's like the Diddy documentary came out about him. So he gets there, like, what's up, guys? Ship is seized, thrown in prison. And because the Alvarado or Almagro guy filed a thing claiming that he assassinated Almagro. And Hernando's request to talk to the king is denied, since he is now a convicted Fidelan. And Hernando would stay locked up for 20 years, not getting out until he was 63, half blind and unable to walk without a cane. Damn. Never to return to Quito again or ever help his brothers. And this was the only brother of doom to die of natural causes, by the way.
Because he got locked up.
Yeah.
Damn. So it would have been better to just die.
I know. Ugh. So with Hernando locked up, and this was all while Gonzalo was lost in the fucking jungle. So with Hernando locked up and Gonzalo was lost in the jungle, the Almagristas, this was the name of these guys, a force of 200 soldiers head to Quito. So these guys were staying in Lima. And they, so they were like, fuck this, they're going down there. And they had been in Chile a long time, because that's where, I guess, like, the Almagra faction was gifted the southern part of South America. But down there wasn't shit going on. So they were like kind of living like peasants down in Chile. And they're like, man, fuck this. We need Gonzalo's got us fucking, or whatchamacallit? Francisco's got, he should be breaking bread with us. He's fucking rich as hell. We were like, this is a joint venture. We're getting the shit under the stick. So they were like, they got up towards Quito and they were like making plans like, we got to kill Francisco, dude. Fuck this guy.
Isn't
Like-
Lima in Peru?
Yeah, so I think they went from Chile to Lima.
Nice.
They're camped out in Lima, being like, we're about to fuck Francisco up. So a group of 20 Almagristas, calling themselves the Chile faction, decided they, on June 26, 1541, would catch Francisco Pizarro on his way to church and kill him. And they were using
Kill him on his way to church feels dirty.
It's like The Wire, literally.
Yeah.
It's the episode. It's the thing from The Wire when they go after Omar's mom. She had her cap on, man. What the fuck? So they were using Almagro's 19-year-old son as like this symbol of this is the rightful blah 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 blah. But before the day of the attack, one of the Chile faction guys went to confession and spilled the beans to a priest. I guess he got kind of like heavy conscience. And then the priest sent word to Francisco. And then Francisco was like, yeah, I'll have mass in my house that day. Because you never know what was real, what was not.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll have mass in my house. I'm having an elaborate feast where I'll invite a bunch of people over. So there's a lot of people there. Just, God forbid they come try to get me. So the plotters are all weaponed up, ready to depart. They get word that their plot had been discovered since Francisco said he was sick and was having mass at his house. Which are like, oh, fuck, does he know this?
Yeah.
So now they're like, dude, if we don't kill him now, he's going to send people to kill all of us. Like, how much does he know about us? So they're like, fuck it, we're going to go to his house and just kill him at his house. And so while Gonzalo is still in the Amazon jungle, the feast is going down. Chile faction rolls up, and right in the middle of the party, people are like, dude, there's the men of Chile are here to kill the Marquis. But it was too late because some of the Chile faction were already in the courtyard. And out of Francisco's 20-something guests, most tried to run away, hopping out windows and scrambling as the armed assassins stormed the house. So Francisco, being a beast, went and weaponed up alongside with his brother, Francisco Martin, and one of their friends. So there's just three guys,
Francisco.
dude. 3 musketeers versus fucking like 20 guys fully weaponed up. So one of the guests that didn't run away tried to reason with the Chile faction, but was brutally stabbed and tossed down the steps, leaving Francisco, his brother, and their friend, literally a 3 musketeer up, swashbuckling from the top of the stairs, the wave of 20 guys. So the Chile faction would come up the steps, heated sword fight. They would thwart wave after wave of the Almagristas, but eventually Francisco Martin is slain, then his buddy, leaving Francisco the eldest to fight alone, which he did valiantly, taking blow after blow while still giving it to the Chile boys until finally he dropped dead on his steps, defeated.
That's a good way to go out there.
It's fucking kind of beast, honestly. So the Chile faction run out of the house yelling victoriously. Meanwhile, an old priest swooped in and buried 2 of the Brothers of Doom, fearing that the Chile faction would return to put their heads on pikes. San Francisco, unfortunately, was supposed to be buried in a sick royal cloak, but there was no time for that, so he just got buried. Probably his armor, which is still pretty tight.
Yeah.
How many Chile faction guys were there?
Like 20, I think you
20.
said.
There's a lot of Algomistas, but there's only 20 assassins. There's like 200 guys who were loyal to Almagro, but 20 of them decided to weapon up and like really beast out. I think they probably took, I would imagine, like 7 or so.
It's a solid
Like
number.
7 people died in battle back then. They were like, damn, that was like fucked up. Because they were fucking these guys up, but it was just too much. If it was like 7 on 3, they would have killed them. But 20 was just too much, dude. And this, meanwhile, like we said, Gonzalo hears this story while just grubbing face. And now he's fucking #1 enemy is now the Almagro guys.
So he's not even mad at his little bro anymore.
He has to forget his beef with Oriana for the time being. And that is the end of part 2. So now we will jump back into like how it works out with Gonzalo back in town and Oriana trying to find his way out of the jungle. So yeah, part 3 will come next. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Shout out the Magras. No, fuck the Magras.
Algomistas.
Yeah.